5 minutes.
Cathy Minister, as you know, this is my third time to speak on this subject, and although I do that with a sense of utter frustration, I have to say, and I've said that, so I'll try and use my time positively, because I hear all of the statements that this is a watershed, this is shining the light, we know now. We've known for a very long time. And on the last occasion, I think I had 2 minutes. I have a few extra ones today. So a report on the task force. It happened to be Deputy Fitzgerald at the time, 1997. The task force aim is to ensure women experience violence can have real options. This is 97. That when they disclose what is happening, that they are listened to and believed. That public services are in a position to offer practical help and assurances. And women and children who have lived with violence need counselling and support, and so on. And then, interestingly as well, working with women and children only addresses one side of the problem. Programmes for violent men that confront violent behaviour must be developed and expanded. A society where women are not regarded as equals, which sees violence as a legitimate way of resolving conflict, is one where violence to women can flourish. Work with young people has an important role to play in preventing violence and abuse in a new generation. That's 97. That's following 20 years previous to that. The first refuges were set up and so on, and following the work of the organisations on the ground, and particularly Women's Aid at that time. And then we come forward and we're waiting for the third national strategy that was promised before Christmas. We're waiting on TUSLA. I really would like you tonight to tell me what is the delay in publishing the report that I understand is with the government, or is certainly with TUSLA for a very long time, the completed report. And Minister, I've repeatedly said I believe in your bona fides and I respect what you're doing. But why are we still saying that it will be published soon? The Taoiseach said it this morning. It's unacceptable to me now to say that anymore. I want to know, will it be published tomorrow? If not, why not? And what has it shown up? And then in relation to our knowledge about violence, you can pick any time. I've picked 97. I could pick the Sophie McColgan case and the book by Susan McKay, published in 1998. I could pick the Kelly Fitzgerald case. I could pick the Roscommon case. I could pick the Kilkenny incest case, which was published by Senior Counsel McGuinness, subsequently became a Supreme Court judge. And what jumped off the page, and I'm paraphrasing it, 1993, the level of violence in that family was not atypical, or words to that effect, not unusual for the area. Every single decade and every single year of those decades were fully aware of the extent of violence, not just domestically but outside of the home. And everybody is hurt and diminished by that, not to mention our economy at the cost of 2.2 billion at a conservative estimate alone, the consequences of domestic violence. But nobody can participate in society, particularly women and who have been subjected to that level of abuse. They can't participate as active citizens in a democracy. It simply can't be done. So I'm beyond statements. And I'm using my few minutes here today to say, I'll work with you. There are practical ways. Publish the TUSLA report, make that most basic accommodation available that's necessary, make it multifunctional for the future. I've heard a lot of talk about education. This is the Manuela Rido. I don't know what the department have done in relation to this programme. This programme has been run out on a pilot basis, evaluated in Galway, run by the Galway Rape Crisis Centre along with TUSLA and other rape crisis. Exactly what TDs are asking for. Mainstream it. Let meet the people, mainstream this programme if you consider it right. I do, I've read it. That's the report, and there has been an assessment on it. I'd love tonight if you told me if you're aware of that. That was a beautiful young girl. All of the women were beautiful that were murdered. That murder was 2007. It was to never happen again. And they Rape Crisis Centre in Galway and a number of others throughout the country worked closely with TUSLA and with the Manuela Rido Foundation to make sure that we would bring changes. It hasn't happened, even though the pilot project was extremely successful. If that's a right word, it's probably not a right word when we're talking about such a horrific level of violence, but the actual result of that pilot programme was very, very positive. The Citizens' Assembly reported last year, and they've written to every single TD in the Dáil, pointing to their recommendations that really have been ignored, and again in relation to dealing with the perpetrator as well. And what's interesting about that is we were so out of touch in this Dáil, and I was part of that Dáil, in relation to the Citizens' Assembly when it was set up, that domestic, sexual and gender-based violence wasn't included in the terms of reference. Can you imagine? Not even included. And they had the sense, and the chairperson, Catherine, Dr. Day, had the sense to change the terms of reference, or at least to interpret them. I'm over time, Gomel Eshkin. Thank you.